it's the foundation for what I'm going to be sharing with you today. And so I do love this. If you want this little meme, I'd be happy to send it to you. And I open up a lot of my trainings with this, just so we know that there's that discomfort of, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? I don't know. Is anybody here? Or, the modern day seance is what it sounds like from when we were teens and doing seances. And I just thought it was cute. So here's our traditional discovery method, right? We get together with people, we have flip charts on the paper. You all just met my daughter. She experiences migraines. It's allergy season here. But you can see her on the bottom right when she's feeling better. We had to get a separate page for her supporters to contribute because she filled up her favorite things pages for us. So we never are at a loss for learning what's important to her. But typically we're walking around the room and we're filling out the flip charts. Is that the way most of you do discovery in person? And of course, now we're prohibited, and I know some states are opening up, but in California, we still have restrictions and mask requirements. And I'm grateful for that, frankly. And so we want to use the tools that are available to us. And one of the tools that I use is Group Map. And y'all might know Tina from Tri-County Regional Centers, or may have met her at a gathering. She turned me on to this tool many years ago. And Group Map allows you to capture a lot of data. And I've been using it so long that they grandfathered me in at $8 a month. But now it's $20 a month for a basic plan, which is a worthwhile investment if you're doing plan development. It's also easy to use. And I sent you all the link, and we'll go in there together in a few minutes. It's easy to use for me as the facilitator of the discovery session, but also for the people who are contributing. You can also edit and add things as you're talking into a different section, so that if somebody says, I love movies, well, we can find out what genre, what kind of movies do they hate? What kind of movies do they love? And really get to that branching conversation detail. And then you can export that data for plan development into Excel or a CSV file, whichever you prefer. The limit is how many numbers of questions that you can ask. And I'm not going to pay more, so maybe if you spend more, you get more, but I think it's 12 right now, and you'll see it because I have it maxed out right now. Another option is using Google Forms. And Google Forms, it's easy, but when you're doing discovery and reviewing information, it's clunky, right? But it is free. You can ask as many questions for people to fill out as you want. It's not as attractive to the viewer when you're doing the live review, but it's really easy export because it's already in. It feeds into an Excel type Google sheet. So the things that I supplement online discovery with are, of course, some of the online tools that we use for data collection or the paper. And I just send someone the learning log. I send them the communication chart, and I ask the family and supporters to start using that, because then you get a little bit more information. I also use the Charting the Life course tools because I think that they marry well with PCT skills. And then you're going to use what works best for you, right? If you go, I hate Excel, I never want to use Excel, you might as well hang up now because it's going to feed right into Excel. But I'm going to show you the easy way to do it. If you have no budget, then Google Docs is perfect for you. But you do need to know how to export, copy, and paste. And I am going to show you how to do that this morning. What I do want to share is that I will not be able to check the slides and be able to do the maneuvering through the things I'm going to share with you and keep an eye on the chat. So because we're a small group, if you want to ask or say something or share something, because we are a learning community, then please just unmute yourself and say, oh, can I share this? Or I've got a question. All right, so here's the integrated star, which I love to use. And oftentimes, you know, I'm working with agencies who have children in long-term care. I don't like to do the relationship map with those individuals because often the families are disconnected. So I'll use, you know, the relationships in this to learn more. But we don't need a relationship map with no one in family, right? And so in those situations, I don't use the relationship map. But then what I like about this most under eligibility specific is I'm able to see what's missing. And especially when you're doing self-determination planning, what's missing from opportunities that they may be able to get. In California, SSI recipients now get food stamps. We call it CalFresh. What are the community-based opportunities that someone has present in their life and what's missing that you know about that you can share? And then for the vision for the plan itself, I love this tool. I love it because it goes through every area of someone's life, every you know, category of how we define life. And so I give this to the person, I also give this to their family or the other people who really support them, because a lot of people don't have family anymore. So this is how you have a limit, I think, of 25 people, at least with the plan that I have, the cheap plan. And then you can indicate, can it be shared by the people you're inviting? And so if it can, you'll check this box. You can send this QR code. You can send the email. So you can copy it to the clipboard and include it in an email to invite people. And what I have people do is I ask them to share this with the people that they want to contribute to developing this plan. And there's an introduction that says we're working on developing, you know, a plan that's going to help whoever it is have a better life and a better experience in the supports they receive. So you can see that there are 12 boxes here where I'm asking for information. And of course, each person gets their own, and I go in and customize the name. So what I want you to do is I want you to contribute something in each section right now. All right, so I want you to start adding to this section. Just put one thing in each box is fine. And then I'm going to show you how to get it out of here. And if I just saw friend at a real discovery, I'd ask, who's your friend? What's your friend's name? Who are your daughters? You know, so those of you who are trainers, you'll know that, right? You're going to ask for the detail as you go through. And there are little prompts that tell you what we're looking for in there. Happy to share this template with anybody who wants to use it. Now we're getting there. Favorite things: mint flavored ice cream, cheeseburgers, my dog, being outside, no Brussels sprouts. I'm with you. Unless they don't taste like Brussels sprouts. All right, so go ahead and get something in each box. and replace those pound signs with you. Everybody's typing away. And I don't know if you can still see my screen while you're doing that, but you can see how many ideas each person contributed as well, which is good information to have. So this is the part where we're playing your favorite music and you're walking around filling out all of the forms, and you are eating your favorite snacks if that's possible. Looks like about everybody is getting something in each box. What I'm going to do is, like I would at a live discovery, you can actually fill the screen with this, with each section so that you can see it better. And I might say, tell me more about your family. Who in your family is important? And I can add comments down below. So I put Mom, Marie, Tom, Dad, Heather or Lauren, sister, and I'm going to add all that. And if I know they're out of the area, I also add that. So if they live in North Carolina, which some of our family does, I'm going to put who lives in North Carolina, because in that, when people are looking at the material and they say who's important to you, and then later on somebody says, my dad lives in North Carolina, but perhaps somebody, an unfamiliar listener, may not know what they're saying. They can look at the plan and see who's in this person's family. She said her dad lives somewhere, but I don't know where. So those are just little things that I like to do so that I've got more information. So now I can close this and I can close this, and it takes me back to brainstorm individually. I'm clicking that back arrow to go back here again. And again, I'm going to go into filling up this screen. And I'm going to ask about cheeseburgers. How do you like your cheeseburgers done, Sue?
Any way you can give them to me. I'm not picky.
Okay.
I will tell you, I don't like ketchup though. I don't like ketchup on my burger.
Okay.
And it has to have cheese.
No ketchup. Must have cheese. What kind of cheese?
I prefer American or cheddar, but I'm not opposed to, you name it. Even
okay.
Even blue cheese. I'll eat just about any kind of cheese too.
My kind of gal. All right, so I'm getting the details. And what about how you like it cooked?
Preferably medium. I know that's kind of a no-no. You're supposed to cook it all the way through, but I like it pink in the middle.
Okay, so pink center. All right. You would not get that at my house. I overcook and dry out everything. All right, so I'm done with that. I use my little arrow to go back again. And I continue along these lines, right? I continue to get, if I'm looking at what celebrations are celebrated by SCON, and I'm going to find out which ones, how you do it, and I'm going to capture all that information and put it in there. It also may show up in rituals and routines section, right? How, you know, or under the celebrations, birthday, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever it is that person celebrates and how they do it. So let's say we've done that. We've gotten all of this great information. What's next, right? I can click on results and I can see, you know, just everything, but it's not really allowing me to change anything, right? So I guess I can actually. What you can see here is these, somebody did this. Who did that? Who's so smart? Christy, was that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. You get an A+. All right, so we're getting the details. So now what, right? I'm going to go back to the main menu. All right, I'm going to go to the main map. So here's my main menu. Here's my discovery. What I want to do now is I want to pull that data out. So I'm going to go save the changes. It does save it automatically. You don't have to really do anything to make that save. I want to now go to the 3 little dashes on the side. Did you see those here? Up in the upper right-hand corner. And I want to go to reports because now I want to pull the info. I can also lock the map so that people can't continue to contribute after the fact because that information will get missed and they can instead email it to me or something. So I can just go right to reports now. And you'll see here, there's different kinds of reports. I can get just basically a written report, a map, or a JPEG. But what I want to do is I want a report that's going to give me the comments. It's going to give me the ideas. And up here is where I can click on to say, what kind of report do I want? All right. So I'm not so concerned with the participants who contributed right now because I've already talked to all of you. I want the ideas. I want what came up, but I also want the comments that we added. And I also want the brainstorm function. Okay, so I want the brainstorm report. And you can add to your columns if you'd like. I don't really need who created it. This is what I really need. But I also want to get the comments. So I'm checking that because that's where we put the extra information, right? The little details. So I've got everything that I want here. And so you can see that they're here. Here's Sue's hamburger preferences or cheeseburger preferences and all the little things that are discovered in addition to the, what people contributed. All right, so now I'm going to export it right here on the right, export. I can export it right into Excel, or I can export it as a CSV file, which if you're like really good at Access, you could import it to Access and create a beautiful report right within there. And there your plan is done, except no one can edit it. So it's not that useful. I'm going to go with Excel. And I'm going to save this wherever I want to save it. I'll just put it on my desktop so it's easy to find. All right, so now you can see it's downloading in the bottom left-hand corner. It's already done. It's a very fast process. And now I can open it and I'm going to see all that data. And I'm going to do a new share with Excel so that you can see the data. All right, so here's the data. Is it there? Yeah, there we go. Had your beautiful faces in the way of my data. And I'm going to make it nice and large so that you're able to see it well. Now I'm going to zoom to 300. There we go. That's ginormous, right? So the first column is empty. I'm just going to ditch it. But first, when you have merged rows, you have to get rid of them. So this is an image. I just delete it. And now I have the rows and I go right down to the title bar and I just delete these rows. Now I can delete these columns and get rid of the junk that doesn't need to be there. All right, so here's my titles, right? These were the headers, just like we would put on the wall, above the flip chart. So these are the headers. This is what you contributed. So this is really contributions and comments. And if I had talked to whoever put in a great book, I might say, what kind of book do you like? Do you like mystery, history? I can't think of anything that rhymes with those two, but now I've got all the data. So there's another function in Excel that you can use called sort. And it's right here. And it's the little funnel right here. And if you click on the little funnel, I can filter this. And you'll see little arrows pop up in this top row. Now I can say, which ones do I want to look at? I only want to look at the health issues. Now here are all the health issues, only the health issues. So when I'm putting it into the section of the plan, of course I will have had allergic to bees. What does that look like? What do we do to support you when that happens? Who's got the EpiPen and all of that? So now I can copy all of this. I don't need that header anymore. I'm going to copy all of this. So I'm going to highlight it to copy it, assuming comments were all filled in. You can either go up to edit and copy. I use the right mouse, copy. Now let's say I'm putting it into my person-centered plan. And I'm just going to open a Word document. Of course, I closed Word because I updated my computer this morning. I'm going to stop sharing for 1 minute to pull up Word. Those updates really slow you down in the morning. They take so long to run and you have to shut everything down. Oh, it's such a pain. All right, and I'm going to just share my whole desktop now because we're going to be going back and forth. I'm going to make your pictures little tiny ones now. And I'm just going to create a new document. And when I'm doing a person-centered plan, I use the essential lifestyle plan format. I'm not a graphic person, so for me, the graphics don't work so well. I just reduced the size of this if you were wondering what I did. So this is copied onto my desktop. You can see the little marching ants that tell you it's copied. Now I can paste it into the Word document. Now it looks funky right now because it's still in a table, right? Here's the table function. You go to layout and you convert that table into text. And there it is. There's my list. And underneath it would be all the details. So there's all my health stuff. Here I'm going to be listing out what you should do in the event of an emergency. Use an EpiPen immediately. All right, let's go back and get another section just to review how this works. I'll make it a little larger again so you can see it. I'm going to go back up here to my filter. Remember, the filter is how I get specific information. I can rule out a lot of other information, and I can unclick health issues, and I can go to how do you communicate? And now all I have is the communication section. Okay, it's still highlighted. How about that? Except it doesn't have them all. So I'm going to, and ignore the row numbers because it's pulling that data out regardless of the row. So you're going to see the row where it actually lives. Just ignore that. I'm going to, pardon me. Again, I'm going to copy those two columns. We did not get to detail on this, but that's okay. So I copied it. So this I'm going to give a header to health. And the header is what creates the table of contents. So if I go here now, I'm going to paste my communication. This is how I communicate, right? I'm going to convert this by highlighting this box. It's highlighted. I go to table design in Word. It highlights itself so it knows you want to do something with the table. I go to layout, convert to text. Now it's in text. I can remove any repetition. So I can do that really quickly. A lot of verbal and written. I can get that. A lot of I will say it, I will tell you. Okay, so now I'm going to give it bullets. And this is how I communicate. And I'm going to give that a header as well. How are you guys doing with following this so far? Does it make sense? Because I can repeat it, but I think
it's brilliant, Trudy. I'm furiously writing notes because I'm worried I won't remember the steps, but
I will record the steps. But
I'm amazed.
I didn't want to have you guys have to give permission for the video. I will record this later and make it available. But
You are so kind.
Isn't this amazing?
It is. I wish I'd had this a long time ago. Where have you been all my life?
Right? I was so excited when I figured this out. So
It's
let's say
amazing.
you don't have $20 a month, right? Now what do you do? So what you can do then, and I'll go to, excuse me, my Google Forms. And I'm going to share my screen again. And I'm going to share my whole desktop. So I'm going to make y'all little so that you'd think I was from Texas, the way I say y'all again all the time, but I just think it's so effective. So here's my discovery model for Google Docs. So if you have a Google account, you have Google Forms. It's available and it's free. And I'm going to make it bigger so that you can see it. And you'll see that I have the same questions here, except I've combined some of them, right? I can also ask the sign in, the information that you get when people arrive to make sure that, you know who wrote what with the pens. And you will be able to see who contributed what. So they're going to put their name in here. I'm looking at the other thing. This is the view for the user. How do you know Mary? How long have you known Mary? What are her favorite possessions? It's just like the other one, right? But it doesn't have the same interface. the other thing is you can't see what other people have written. So you'll know that you don't have to repeat what other people have written. To review this live with the team, and we always do a review follow-up. You know, it's never just done and then the plan is done. You do a live review and you check in with the person, you check in with their circle of support if they're not able to tell you. And so this is the same collective information. For me, as the creator of this form, I can find the responses by going back to the original form. And here's Sheets, which is just like Excel. You open the results in Sheets and you'll have all that information in here. And as you can see, it's not nearly as pretty as the other one, but sometimes, so people aren't working ahead of me, I'm just checking the time, I will make all of this text white so that they're not seeing it until I'm ready for them to see it. So it disappears essentially until I'm ready to turn it to black text again. And so this is very similar to how I do the group map plan, but you're going to have to insert the additional information. But, you know, and then you're going to have to put bullets on it and stuff, but you have to do that with group map as well. It's just not as nice of an interface for the user or for you as the presenter. And for those of you who are doing online PCT trainings, I still find annotation to suck up more of my time because people don't know how to use it. You also have to move things around to get it so it's not overlapping other people's information. And, you know, you get people drawing and, you know, because they don't know how to do it. So to save time, what I do when I'm doing the PCT trainings, and I'm going to go back to my Google Docs, because what I do is I give them a link to a Google Doc and they can all see what each other is doing. So let me pull that up. This is my discovery. I'm going to go back and I'm going to go actually back to the main Sheets section. And I'm going to look for Harry, right? Because if I can spell Harry, it was my dad's name, I should be able to. So here's Harry's best supports after you do the story. I split people into groups. They're all in their breakout rooms and they can see what the others are writing and you can display it where everyone is able to see it at the same time. So it is such a time saver. And I do this also with like and admire. So if I'm working with an individual group and they're all from the same agency, I do like and admire here as well. I did that with Gowry's group. And I just did it with another group on Friday. So I finished up with another group on Friday and they were all from the same agency. And when they turned in their one-page descriptions to be able to get their certificate, one wrote, I can't find what people wrote about me. And I was able to send it to her. I go, make sure you include this. This is what your colleagues shared about you. And I copied it and sent it to their boss, all the likes and admires of each other. And of course, for those who were real quiet, you could tell those were the quiet ones in the group and they didn't have very much. I just started writing in those, right? I contributed. They can't see who's contributing. So I would, you know, been with them for 4 days. I can contribute to them as well. So I do this for Julie. I do this for Harry and I do it for George. Let's find Julie. So here's Julie's important 2, important 4 sort. And again, we do the groups of 3. And it is just beautiful. And all I have to do is I go to share. I grab the share link. You've got to make sure people can edit it. Copy link. I put it in chat. Let me change this to all. And now go ahead and click on the link. Somebody's got a conversation in the back. I just might ask for you to mute yourself while there are other people chatting. All right, so follow the link. And let's see if you're popping up. There you are. I can see you're all popping up here. You get these anonymous names. They're very cute little icons, and you can fill this out. There's no, yeah.
It's Alice.
Hi, Alice.
So would you give each we use Teams for our training, so I assume you use Zoom, but you give each one of them, or what, all 3 groups click on this same link?
That is correct. And then there's a column for group 1 to work on. There's a column for group 2, and there's a column for group 3.
So
And
when they're in the,
they don't have to come back and report. They just fill it out, and then we all look at it together. I also do this for Kathleen.
right.
I just love this. Once I discovered this, that was it. No more annotation. All right, so here's Kathleen's. And I role play them. And I keep the link down here so that if I need to copy it to paste it in. I also keep push notices in for the PCT trainings. So when I do this, when I do the share of working, not working for Kathleen, Alice, I think it might be your group behind you. I'm going to mute you if you don't mind. Nope, it's not Alice. Who's got conversation going on in the, I'll just mute everybody, but oops, somebody got it. Okay. So here would be Kathleen, right? I'm not going to worry about the spelling. Here's her mom, Sarah. And then here's the staff. And usually I give any extra people to the staff because there's usually more than one staff who's contributing, right? And they're in their breakouts doing this, having conversation. And I suggest that there be one recorder, not everybody typing at the same time, but so that they're working as a team. And so this is how I have avoided using annotate. I did put this in the learning log, by the way, for the committee's team of how I do this now. And it just, it's such a time saver. No more teaching annotation. Kathy had to leave. So what questions, if any, do you have or ideas for me that you might have to